Have you ever wondered how the United States, a nation that's relatively young compared to world empires of the past, became the most powerful country on the planet? It's a story of geography, timing, innovation, and a series of pivotal world events. Let's dive in. It all starts with a huge advantage: geography. The United States is like a giant protected island. It's bordered by two vast oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific, which have acted as a natural barrier, keeping major conflicts far from its shores for most of its history. To the north and south are friendly neighbors, Canada and Mexico, eliminating the threat of border wars that have plagued Europe and Asia for centuries. This geographic security allowed the country to focus inward, on development and expansion, without the constant fear of invasion. Internally, the U.S. is blessed with an incredible wealth of natural resources. Think of the vast, fertile farmlands of the Midwest, often called the world's breadbasket, capable of feeding its own people and many more around the globe. It has abundant fresh water from massive river systems like the Mississippi, which also created a natural highway for trade and transport deep into the continent's interior. Add to that enormous deposits of coal, iron, oil, and natural gas, the very fuels that powered the Industrial Revolution. This resource jackpot meant the U.S. didn't have to depend on other countries for the raw materials needed to build a modern economy. As the 19th century unfolded, America embraced the idea of manifest destiny, expanding from the Atlantic to the Pacific. This westward expansion, though it came at a great and tragic cost to Native American populations, consolidated a continent-sized domestic market. With no internal tariffs or borders to worry about, goods, people, and ideas could flow freely across a massive territory, creating unparalleled economic scale. This single, unified market became a powerful engine for growth. Then came the Industrial Revolution. While Europe was the birthplace of industrialization, the U.S. took it to a whole new level. A culture of innovation and entrepreneurship flourished. Think of figures like Eli Whitney with the cotton gin, Henry Ford with the assembly line, and Thomas Edison with almost everything. This focus on mass production and efficiency transformed the American economy. The country became a manufacturing powerhouse, churning out steel, cars, and countless other goods on a scale the world had never seen. This industrial might became the bedrock of its economic power. Now let's talk about the 20th century, where global events dramatically shifted the balance of power. World War I was a turning point. While the old powers of Europe exhausted themselves, destroying their economies and losing a generation of young men in the trenches, the U.S. entered the war late. It supplied the Allies with weapons and loans, and its industry boomed. By the end of the war, America had transformed from a debtor nation into the world's leading creditor. European powers owed the U.S. vast sums of money, cementing its new role as the center of global finance. The period between the wars was rocky, with the Great Depression hitting America hard, but the foundational strengths of its economy remained. And then came World War II. This was the event that truly catapulted the U.S. into its superpower status. Once again, the U.S. mainland was untouched by the devastation of war. While factories in Europe and Asia were bombed into rubble, American factories went into overdrive. The U.S. became the arsenal of democracy, producing an astonishing amount of military hardware, ships, planes, tanks, and guns for the Allied forces. By the end of World War II in 1945, the old world order was shattered. The great empires of Britain and France were financially broken and morally exhausted. Germany and Japan were defeated and in ruins. The Soviet Union had suffered immense losses. In this landscape of destruction, the United States stood alone as the only major power that was stronger after the war than before. Its industry was intact and booming. It had a monopoly on the atomic bomb, and it held about 2/3 of the world's gold reserves. This unique position allowed the U.S. to shape the post-war world. Through initiatives like the Marshall Plan, it poured billions of dollars into rebuilding Western Europe. This wasn't just charity. It was a strategic move that created strong democratic allies and new markets for American goods, preventing the spread of communism and solidifying American influence. The U.S. also led the creation of key international institutions, like the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, many of which were headquartered in the U.S. and operated using the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. This gave America immense soft power, the ability to influence other countries through economic and cultural means, not just military force. Following the war, the world entered the Cold War, a decades-long ideological struggle between the United States and the Soviet Union. This intense competition spurred massive investment in technology and defense. The space race, the arms race, the development of the Internet, all were driven by this rivalry. While incredibly expensive, this sustained government spending fueled innovation in sectors like aerospace, computing, and telecommunications, leading to technological breakthroughs that further boosted the American economy and solidified its military superiority. When the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, the U.S. was left as the world's sole superpower. Its military was unrivaled, its economy was the largest and most dynamic, and its culture, from Hollywood movies to McDonald's and blue jeans, had a global reach unlike any other. So it wasn't one single thing. It was the perfect storm of protected geography, abundant resources, a culture of innovation, and being in the right place at the right time during the 20th century's devastating world wars. From a rebellious colony to a global superpower, the rise of the United States is a complex and fascinating story of how geography, economics, and history converged to create the most powerful nation in the modern world. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration of history. See you next time.